So welcome back to the channel. And did you know that Socket 775 is now 21 years old? That's right, 21 years old, released back in 2004. And this era of computing holds a special place in my heart because when I started my side hustle about 8-9 years ago and I started the channel about 6-7 years ago, this is what I was going out looking for. I was able to find this stuff real cheap, flip it, repurpose it, and make decent gaming computers, and people liked it. More so with the Optiplexes in the sense that I was able to upgrade the CPU to something like a 9650. I used to get those cheap for about $20-$30. 4 gigs of DDR2 memory, popping something like a 750 Ti low profile because it was one of the smaller cases, a GT 1030. Put a decent computer together and people loved it. The money I was able to put into it and what I was flipping for, I was mostly doubling my profits, and I was doing this all day long. This was the golden era for me because that was when it was a lot easier to build budget gaming PCs, and now it's a little harder. In fact, one of the first videos on the channel was a Dell Optiplex, which I converted into a gaming PC with cutting the window and all that type of stuff. So I'll post a link to the video down in the description if you want to check it out. But yeah, I really love this older stuff. But just like everything else, it's old, it's outdated, and it's not gonna hold up, if any, probably not gonna hold up to modern day use or gaming. One of the issues, the whole Windows 10 to 11, Windows 10 is pretty much bye-bye. And there are ways, backdoors, that you can kind of prolong your Windows 10 life, but pretty much you're gonna be forced to use Windows 11, which allows Microsoft to increase the whole e-waste thing, but that's another story. And the only other option is Linux, but a lot of people are not Linux savvy, quick to jump into Linux. So in a sense, it's mostly done for, unless you're good with Linux. And recently, reaching out to a couple of customers that I've sold these computers for, they still have it. They still enjoy these computers. And unfortunately, they're like, yeah, it is slowing down and it's time to upgrade. So today, I'm gonna take a look at this. I've looked on eBay. This motherboard right over here sells for about $80 to $100, and we'll take a look at it. But let's dive into this motherboard, take a look at it, and then see how well this thing performs in 2025 with some gaming and even just basically running Windows 10. So let's dive in. So this is the evga nForce 780i SLI motherboard, and it's a really cool looking motherboard. A lot of features and all that type of good stuff. I mean, look at this heat sink right over here. And this did come with a chipset cooler that you could put on it, but when I got this motherboard, it didn't have it. So I guess whoever built this computer didn't put that feature on, but it'd be pretty cool to have the fan just for the authenticity, the originalness of it, collector's value. I don't know. But I mean, just taking a look at it, pretty cool motherboard. Now, all these new motherboards have armor and shield and all that type of stuff, but this was, this was what you got for, the premium goodness of it. 3 PCIe slots, regular PCI, and nice features like reset, power, plenty of headers for your fans, the debug, so you know what was going on, like 6 SATA ports for your floppy drive, IDE, and the coolest part, well, this didn't come with it, I found this. Check this out, folks. Nvidia SLI memory. So these are 2 2-gig sticks, and unfortunately, that's all I got. But this is a 1 gig and a 1 gig, so I have 6 gigs of DDR2 memory. So pretty cool on it. And the CPU that I am going to be running on this today, it's the Xeon 5450 or 5460. We'll see when I turn it on. I forget which model it is. But what I liked about it was there was a mod, and I actually did a video on it, that you could put a piece of tape or something like that and update the BIOS, and the computer would let you run Xeons. Xeons still to this day are best bangs for the bucks because the performance difference between its i7 counterparts is like negligible. And sometimes some of these Xeons do perform better than the regular i7 counterparts. So we have a Xeon. Now, obviously, we're not going to sit here and deal with IDE. I do have a SATA drive. This is a 256 gig SATA drive. I do have the rear I/O. I was surprised that actually, number one, kept this and found this. And for our graphics card, because it's the only thing I have in the garage that's pretty much weak, we're going to run a 1660 Super. Yes, bottleneck galore, but hey, it should work. And for our cooler, check out this Cooler Master one. Don't remember where I got it from, but it works. And that's all that matters. So let's go ahead, let's pop in our graphics card. It was installed, so I went ahead and off camera installed Windows 10, the updates and all that type of stuff just to save time on this video. And I went ahead and just took out this graphics card, which does not want to sit in. Come on. But took it out so you could get a better view of this and enjoy all its goodness on it. So 1660 Super, flick the switch. Where's it at? And the cool part, power button's right here. Oh yeah. We got beeps. And for our CPU, it's the, yeah, it's there. We'll see what Windows says when we boot into it. Now this boot time does take a little bit. I mean, it's not the fastest and the spiffiest, but there we go, we're in. And yes, I know I have to activate Windows, but I am not gonna spend $20 on a Windows key for pretty much a motherboard that I'm not gonna use or I might end up selling. But let's go to Device Manager. Ooh, as you can see, it's doesn't have that spiffiness like we're accustomed to. Come on. Come on. There you go. And as you can see for our specs, 6 gigs of DDR2, and this is the Xeon 5450, 3 gigahertz. I think it's 4 cores, something like that. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've messed with this stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Definitely not gonna be able to upgrade to Windows 11. Now, on a side note, I did try Windows 11 on this. You can install it with some backdoor Rufus and some other stuff. Folks, it's a miserable experience. Windows 11 tends to suck as it is, but on this older stuff, whew, forget about it. So let's try this, and let's go ahead and just open up Internet Explorer and try to keep up with, you know, how fast it runs, which it's not terrible. Let's go to the YouTube. It 4K, not bad. It feels a little choppy, maybe. Could just be me, but yeah, a little choppy. Open up Steam. And let's go to CPU usage. So just having Steam open and running a YouTube video, I mean, we're right now pegged at 92%. So yeah, that's not the greatest. Our memory, 72%, but we only have 6 gigs, and this is DDR2, and the speed for it is 667 megahertz. Ouch. But, you know, our internet's holding up. Okay, cool. It is starting to get laggy. I will say that. It is laggy. It's not as smooth and spiffy compared to a more modern-ish computer. But I can tell you this, I have played with this off camera with some Linux, and it does run a lot better. You don't have that lagginess. So for our first game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So I'm gonna run this at 1080p low settings. And I can tell you right now, it's just slow, just even opening this. CPU pegged out at 100%. And this thing is just struggling just to even load the game. Little ambitious for this, but we'll keep going with ambitious because, well, why not? Well, let me leave this right over here and see how long it takes to get into the main screen. So it took 3 minutes just to get here. I mean, we got 60 frames per second just on the load screen. So, you know, that's a thing. Let's go to display and graphics. I'm just gonna go ahead and run the benchmark. We're still waiting. This is taking a while. Holy bananas, Batman. That took like 8 minutes just to get into this. That is crazy. So obviously CPU bottleneck, because we're like dipping to 20 frames per second. And the 1660 Super does perform at 1080p pretty well. So yeah, prime example of bottleneck going on over here. As far as playable experience, yeah, you're gonna have stutters. You're just gonna have a lot of stutters. And honestly, 1080p at the lowest settings, this game does not look that great. There we go. We got a stutter. Or maybe it froze. I think that froze. Yeah, it looks like the game froze. The GPU is really not able to, you know, do much because CPU can't keep up with it. Look at our temps, 46 degrees. But on the plus side, our CPU is 66 degrees Celsius, so it's running nice and cool. And I just kind of, you know, used the dried up thermal paste that was there, but yeah. So yeah, let's go ahead and close this out. Can I get out of this? Okay, so it's just a game that froze. Come on, stop. Confirm. Yeah, we're not even gonna mess with that. So let's try one more game. There was a couple other games I was gonna try, but if I'm getting this much issues on Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I expected, let's try one more, and then I think we're just gonna have to call it. Well, dang. A CPU that supports the SSE42 processor feature is required. That's a bummer. I didn't know that was a thing for Counter-Strike. Well, I guess this is where this video is gonna come to an end, because I can't play Counter-Strike. We can play some potato games, you know. I got the DuckTales remastered, which is pretty cool, and Chrono Cross and a couple of stuff like that. But as far as, you know, modern-ish gamings and even games from a couple of years ago, this CPU just don't cut it anymore. So let's give you my final thoughts. So socket 775, yeah, it's pretty much done for. At this point, retro computing, if you want to use it for emulation, just really simple, easy tasks, and that's about it. As far as modern gaming and games from even several years ago, not so much. That CPU is limited. We don't have the instructions, and as you can see, I mean, it's really laggy. Just using Windows 10, it was very laggy, not a smooth, ideal experience, not enjoyable. Yes, it does feel better with Linux. I will say that. I did run this with Linux. It does feel a lot better, but let's be realistic. I had this conversation with somebody else the other day, and they said, well, you know, if I run Linux, which has less bloatware, and I'm able to run my games on it, my game should run better. Not really. Not really. Because the issue that you're gonna run into is hardware limitation. It doesn't matter what software you use. And I remember this back in the early days that, you know, oh, install this magical software and your computer's gonna run 1000% better. No, that's, you know, snake oil, to say the least. You know, it's not true. It doesn't matter what OS you use or what software you use, you are gonna run into hardware limitations. As far as using this with Linux, yes, Linux is gonna make browsing the web more smoother, you know, office stuff a lot smoother. Maybe your potato games might get 1 or 2 frames per second better. But then again, I've also seen with Linux, higher end hardware getting a couple of frames per second less compared to Windows. So just kind of keep that in mind. So this was pretty fun. As far as this motherboard, I think I'm gonna post it up on eBay. I'll post a picture up here. Like I said earlier, they sell for about 80 to 100 bucks. See what I get for it. It makes no sense for me to keep it in the garage because I probably haven't ran into one of these computers in several years, probably about at least 3 or 4 years. So if I can make some money with it, why not get a better project going? I do keep older hardware, but I think this one is one for me. It has no collection value. Not much I can really do with it, but put it out there. If somebody wants to buy it, then they can do that. And for those of you who are gonna put in the comment, hey, I wanna buy it from you, probably by the time I post this video, because all my videos are recorded way in advance, this thing would have sold if I get around to selling it. So just give you that heads up. So with all that being said, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. What was your experiences with socket 775? Do you think there's any use cases for it in 2025? And older hardware like this, what do you do with it? Do you sell it? Do you keep it? Collect it? Definitely let me know. If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, see what we come up with next.